Hey everyone, it's James at GMXCharts.com. February 20th, about 4:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USD on the Bitfinex exchange. So first of all, the video is not investment advice. Second of all, it's probably going to be a pretty short video just due to not much else happening. I talk about the potential for another leg up. We got the next leg up, right? So here we are battling the 4,000 range on Bitfinex. The other exchanges, of course, are going to be slightly lower than that, but between 39 to 4,000 is where Bitcoin is now trying to cling on to and hold this zone. Well, what I've noticed and what I talked about on the Monday video was that if volume started dwindling, the red alerts need to go off. Well, lo and behold, guess what happened? Here we are Wednesday, volume is dwindling. 10.4 all the way down to 8.7. Now, if Bitcoin can hold this zone and pump higher, breaking above the recent highs, then that would show a sign of strength. And also I'd like to see that volume coming back into this market. And if that can happen, that's a sign of strength. And we could be reversing course, meaning that the bottom could potentially be in if Bitcoin can break through about 4,500. If it can break through 4,500, stay trading above 4,500 or at least around like 42 to 4,500 area, that should be a positive for the longer term picture of things, at least for Bitcoin. The alts are going to be a different story. Now, I think what's happening now is basically everything I've seen during every single pump and dump since the 20,000 top. So again, you know, like I said in my prior videos, it's not that I want to be bearish and it's not that I want to basically put fear out there, but if it looks like a pig and it squeals like a pig and it smells like a pig, chances are it's a pig. And what I'm seeing here is the same stuff I warned about in the past, is that you see these runs, right? And they look convincing. I mean, everyone, like the social media is convinced. Like I'm seeing some ridiculous targets out there, and then mainstream media. I mean, it's just the hype is gonna go across the board everywhere, just like it always does. Sentiment is extremely bullish right now. This, you know, everyone, like not everyone, but there's a good amount of people that are like, that's it. The bottom's in, the thing's going to the moon. Get your rocket ship ready. We're gonna get those dusty Lamborghinis finally this year in 2019. But the problem is that it's literally doing the same identical things it's done in the past to a T. So that's why I say if it can hold this zone and pump up above the highs, the recent highs on any exchanges, and that volume starts trickling back up, showing that not only are those buyers coming back, but new buyers are coming in, showing the strength of this market, then we could definitely start trucking our way to about 4,500, maybe even higher in the market. And like I said, if it breaks through that area, that's going to be a very positive sign for Bitcoin. So hopefully that makes sense, but I cannot caution people enough at this level. I'm not here to be the hype man. I know there's a lot of people on social media that put those crazy prices out there and stuff for viewership and subscribers, but at the end of the day, there's no denying that every single pump and dump has looked identical to this. I mean, absolutely identical. So I just got to put it out there, you know. If things start to change, price starts to make newer highs, volume starts to come back up, and we're starting to see that strength, fine, great. But if not, and Bitcoin struggling to hold this zone, that's it. The gig is up. Might even spike up a tad bit, make a false little breakout above the recent highs, and then a quick return back under, showing basically a giant middle finger to the traders, the retail traders more than likely at this point, or another big traders as well too, that's it, you know, see you later, adios, and that volume is going to get retracted, and we're going to see an implosion in the market back down to 3,400 and then back down to 3,200. And then the question is, does this end the same way it did at 6,000, where you get this very convincing spike, multiple spikes, multiple convincing spikes, to where everyone thinks that's it, it's going to the moon, and then boom, a massive implosion. The floor drops out from 6,000. You go from 6 down to 3. Do we go from 3 down to 1? 3 down to 2.5, where there's major support? I don't know. As of right now, if things keep going the way they're going to this moment, it looks like we're lining up for a potential basically body slam of the market back into the ground, and this being just a false pump, obviously leading to that dump. So it's not that I want to say that I'm like 100% bearish, but if all these things are lining up, and all these same things have lined up in the past, you need to be very worried about what is happening to the inner workings of this pump. So that's what this video is for. The biggest thing I can preach right now is just have a strategy and just have a profit stop if you're in a profitable position. Be ready to jump ship if this thing caves in on itself. So that's what you need to look out for at the moment. If we're breaking to new highs, the volume is sticking and then starting to turn back up as we're heading higher, then that kind of negates that. That could alleviate a lot of stress, and then we may be seeing the beginnings of a turnaround in this market from this level. I personally think that we'll see a much more severe decline in this market as a whole to wash out a lot of the other alternative coins out there. I think it's just too premature right now with over 3,900 coins for this market to keep accelerating upward, especially when I see people like JP Morgan coming out, or banks like JP Morgan talking about how they're going to make their own crypto. And I don't think it was available to retail, but the whole point to see them come fully against crypto, right? And I know people that got their bank accounts shut down just for sending money to Coinbase back and forth, and long time customers because of that. Not only, I mean, just Chase, Bank of America, I don't know if Wells Fargo did it, but just many of the large banking institutions were basically giving everyone the middle finger if they were trading crypto. So to see them come full circle, and knowing how bad the banking cartel is from trading commodities, then that leads me to believe that these demonic entities have their claws into this market, and it's not going to be an easy ride. If there's anything I can say, look at the charts of gold, look at the charts of silver. There were some mega spikes up that convinced everyone that gold was going to go to 10,000. And obviously you can see where it's at now. You can see the wild and crazy whips in the banks. You can go through multiple articles proving the banks were manipulating. They got hit with fines, blah, blah, blah. This market is absolutely unregulated. It's like telling the biggest criminals in the world that, hey, this is a market, you can go in and do whatever you want, right? And JP Morgan boasts a 97.7% success trading rate. Like, that's absolutely mind-blowing. You want to know why? Because they had the money to move the market whatever way they want to. So I'm not here to like crap on the our controllers, but that's just the nature of the beast. And that's what I imagine that this market is undergoing, that control. Those hooks are coming in. The market's going to go through a lot of turmoil, as we've seen since the 20,000 top. Again, I talked about the horizontal consolidation that led to a massive drop. I didn't think we'd get a big drop like that so fast, but I did talk about from 6,000, if we dropped, we were right in the mid threes. Well, where do we land? About the mid threes, bottom at 3,200, so pretty close. If this doesn't hold, we're gonna hit the mid twos. If not, and we slice through that, we are going to hit 800 to maybe 900 on Bitcoin, and that more than likely would obliterate a lot of the altcoins out there. So part of the reasoning on why I'm longer term bear on this market is because I do not think the banking cartel is going to allow these assets to rise without their control. And the fact that I see the market pumping up, doing the same identical things it's done since the 20,000 top, leads me to believe that they're not done. And the whole fact that the mainstream media is behind it leads me to believe that there's a much higher power or powers controlling it, and the banking cartel is some of the biggest in the globe. And you know, whatever, call it a conspiracy, call it whatever you want. You can do the research on the commodities market, and the banking cartel is the realest thing since sliced bread, and literally the worst thing since the bubonic plague to enter any market. But we are in controlled markets, and there's no way in hell cryptocurrency is going to survive without being controlled by the cartel. There's absolutely no way in the world. So anyways, That's it. That's a pretty much longer video. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but I just want to warn everyone that this pump is showing the same identical moves that it has since the 20,000 top. Could it prove me wrong? Of course. It's going to need to bust through 4,500. It's going to need to show the strength in the buyers. It's going to need to show strength, obviously not in just buyers, but the volume coming back in and actually sticking longer than a 48-hour period and holding above that 4,500 zone. And once it can do those things, then that's it. There will be plenty of opportunities to trade this market from the long side. It's not like it's just going to immediately go from 4,000 down to 0 and then that's it. And then you don't have a chance to trade anymore. It's fine to let things kind of establish a trend and then look for positions from that trend change. So we are in an early stage where we don't have that trend change on the macro scale. Micro scale, maybe, but it has all the inner workings of every other pump and dump it's had since the 20,000 top. So I don't mean to be bearish, but that's just the reality of the nature. So I outlined everything as best as I could. If you do like the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow, and then I'll do another video on Friday.